All right, we're back. We're gonna try another go at this thing and try to see what we can do with that, and try to be quick and go through it. But basically, talking about when we left off that the little back and forth with Trayvon and Dak. It's just two competitive dudes going at it. I'm gonna get some on you. You're gonna pick one or two on me, and that's just what it is, man. When competitors going at two alpha males are going at it, that's kind of what it is. And I've heard a lot of people, Shady McCoy. And I've never heard that kind of thing in a training camp or whatever. More on him later, but. And I was listening to a show the other day. Mike Lombardi, he used to be GM of the Patriots, and he's on Fox Sports One. He does other things now, and he was saying that when we were with the Packers, he was with the Packers. I think he said they never talked to Brett Favre like that. It was always stop it. Guys going at guys. I saw the other day Travis Kelce going with a guy in practice or whatever. So that stuff happens, man. It happens, man. To guys that's going at each other, but it goes back to what we've been saying. And I've been hearing this whole philosophy all through our training camp and other teams' training camp. Iron sharpening iron. You got a good defense and a good. They're going against each other. Only thing they're gonna do is make each other better. That's all they're going to do is make each other better. You think Cooks is not going to be better for going against Diggs, going against Gilmore? You think he's not going to be better? You don't think Gilmore and Diggs going to be better going against CD every day in practice? Iron sharp as iron. You think going to be better? He's fitting in ball between spots against Diggs and Gilmore. You don't think when he plays the next team with corners ain't that good? He's. So that's the thing you got to look at. And of course, if you're playing a good defense, yeah, a couple of times they're going to get you. All right, they're going to get you. So, so some of that was going on in training camp and whatnot. And there was a couple of injuries that went on in training camp too, because I know early in the thing, I know Donovan Wilson went down, and I think it was like the first day of training camp, and I was like, ugh, you know, and he went out, but that's fine. It's going to be like a 3-4 week thing. He'll be back probably at the beginning of the season. He'll be fine. I'm trying to remember what it was he had. It'll come to me in a minute. And then later, I think maybe the next day or whatever, Izzy McQuamu went down. I think he had a hamstring, but he's been back at practice since then. Other injuries that we have seen on the offensive end, Chuma Idoga, who's kind of a reserve tackle guard that we got from Atlanta / Jets. He ended up hyperextending his knee. That's not good. We got issues with the offensive line. We'll talk about here in just a second. And then, of course, Mozzie had an MRI, but it's not something that happened on during training. He's got itis, so that's something we got to keep an eye on. And I think the MRI came back good. I think so. You got those. Those are some of the. And then Tyler Biotis with his ankle. But I think he's been back at practice since then. So those are the things that's going on with what happened at training camp when they were in Oxnard. A lot of stuff, like I said, all the 4-letter networks were focusing on Dak threw some picks in practice. Like, yeah, you throwing against a good defense. They're just coming after you. Yeah, you got number 11 coming at you on every play, and he's tackling you. It wasn't a tackle; he just rolled into him. It happens, but Micah is on another level right now, and it sucks to be the Giants. Andrew Thomas just got your money. You're gonna have to see number 1-1 come second. And I don't. I'm just gonna say that you just got your money that they didn't give to Saquon. That's another story for another day there, but anywho, that's what's going on with in training camp, and so we'll just kind of see what happens with that. Now they've flown back to Dallas, and now they're getting ready for the game this afternoon, in about like 30 minutes from now. So I'm gonna hurry up and get finished with this. So now me now I'm in this space that I'm in now. I kind of look at preseason games a lot differently than I used to, because I watched the preseason games before, and I'm like, man, we gotta win these games, gotta win this game. And now I'm looking at like, okay, here are some guys I'm really trying to see what they've got and stuff like that. So So I got a list of guys that I want to see season. I just want to see what they can do. See what you playing against another team. It's not your teammates. Now probably the guys they saw on their in their practice are gonna be better than the guys that they're seeing on games. That's why a lot of teams they'll tell you, the practices were tougher than the games when you playing against your team got good defenders and stuff. So anyhow, here's some of the players I want to see in preseason. Now, a lot's been made about the running back situation. So I really want to see, because Rico Dowdle is a name that's been kind of kicked around a bunch. Uh, they seem to like him a lot. I think he's been on the team since Tony Pollard's been on it, but he always gets hurt. And last year he actually made the squad, and Malik Davis was on the practice squad, but Rico Allen got hurt. I think the last game, I think it was playing Seattle too, because I think Pete Carroll called a timeout and really should let the clock out, and he ran another play and got hurt. Which you down like 2 scores. What are you doing? Calling a timeout? It's whatever, man. But he ended up getting hurt. Then they ended up putting Rico Dowdle on injured reserve, and then they ended up getting Malik Davis put to play, and he played some games late. But I want to see both of them guys because they got a chance to be that running back number 2 behind Tony Pollard, and we're gonna see how that works. So all this stuff about, because I really never seen Rico Dowdle, but I know Mike McCarthy was talking about him a lot, really bestowing a lot of whipped cream upon him, like he, So I mean, okay, we're gonna see. So that's a guy that's number 1. I want to see. I want to see what all the hoopla is about, and hope and pray he don't get hurt, because we really, we want to see what happens, because there's a reason why we didn't go get Dalvin Cook, or we didn't go get Kareem Hunt, we didn't go get none of them guys that are still available. And a lot of the Cowboy homers, like, we can still go get Zeke, that sort of thing. But I don't know about that one, right? But whatever, we'll see. But anyhow, so them 2 dudes, Rico Dowdle and Malik Davis. Since I thought Malik Davis should have played some in the San Francisco game, but I don't know what the fix was with that after Tony Pollard went down. There was something that went on with that, but yeah, I want to see them 2 guys, and most definitely I want to see what Deuce can do, because Deuce made some nice plays in camp, but of course they can't tackle you in training camp, right? So that's the thing. You can't be tackled. So I'm interested to see what's going on with what he's gonna do. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been watching football 40 plus years. I ain't never seen a player 5'5" play in the NFL. Play football, period. Seen Sproles. I think he's 5'7", 5'8", something like that. I think, what's the kid's name that played at um, Texas Tech, little fella, played in Miami. I can't think of his name, but he was like 5'7", 5'8". He was a little fella, like 175 pounds. Turner's not a big dude. He's like 5'8" and like 170. He's not big either. He's a little fella too, but he's quick. But Deuce is kind of built stocky though. He's like 185 pounds. So that's kind of a lot of weight on 5'5" frame. So he's kind of built low to the ground and stocky, for his height. So maybe, and he got like what I call small area quicks. So he can like get from one point to the next one quicker than you can get there. And then of course, if you square him up, he's lower than you. So, he can. And then 2, a lot of times he's going to be like past the line of scrimmage before you can even find him. So I'm interested to see what that looks like with him making running plays and stuff where they can actually tackle you. I want to see how elusive. I want to see him. Those are the guys. In the wideout group, man, I've been hearing about this dude, Jalen Brooks. I think it's a 7th round pick we picked up from South Carolina. 6'3", about 200 pounds. I'm hearing, man, he is pushing to be the number 4. We know CD, Brandon Cooks, and Michael Gallup are 1, 2, and 3. Then it was always assumed that Tolbert or Simi Fehoko would be the 4, would be competing for the 4. But Jalen Brooks said, I'm coming up inch here. All right. he's been making some plays, man. Jalen Brooks making some plays. He's a big buzz about him in training camp. So I'm anxious to see what that looks like today, playing against real competition and stuff like that. So I'm anxious to see that. And then I'm anxious to see what Turpin looks like in an actual receiving capacity. Because we didn't see him. I think he caught one pass for 9 yards last year, if memory serves. So I would like to see what he looks like with an offense that because one of the things that we heard about the Kellen Moore offense, it was kind of like complex to kind of gather, and so this guy's coming in after he's played in the USFL season and he didn't have no training. He just come right onto the team. You remember he had those 2 touchdowns against the Chargers in that I think second preseason game, and that's really what allowed him to make the team. And he made the Pro Bowl too, but he didn't touchdowns. He got caught from behind and ran into kickers and ran into blockers a lot, but that's digression. But I'm anxious to see, because you think with a guy that small and that quick, you could get him into like the open spaces and you design an offense for him. And Mike McCarthy says something about guys like him. You'd have like a whole book of plays you would run for him. He's sharp that you put for him. I don't know if Kellen Moore even approached that kind of thing, So, and I'm not trying to kick Kellen Moore while he was down or while he's going out, nothing like that. Because Kellen Moore did some great things while he was here, man. He's a brilliant mastermind, but a lot of times brilliant masterminds don't see the blind spots, right? Because they're, an example. Speaking, and I didn't speak with him, but I know he was on the A to Z with Will Skywalker Steele, Brian Broadus, who was a scout for us back in the early 2000s, and does some stuff for 105.3 The Fan. But Brian Broadus was saying really that Green Bay game was the game that really gave Kellen Moore his walking papers, right? Because as you remember that 4th down play that we didn't get, I think they was going to CeeDee Lamb, and I think it was a Gallup. But anyway, he got hit early. He got interfered with, in my opinion, early, and they didn't call nothing when they just called a holding call. I think Tyler Biadasz like 3 plays before on a run by Malik Davis. That was for a 1st down, and they called holding. It was like, I'm still looking at that, and I still don't think it was a hold. So if you called that tight, but you let that go, but I'm digressing now. But on that play, remember, we didn't get it. You remember McCarthy ripping his headset off and slamming it against the ground? That game meant something to him, because that he's going home to, I got my new team, my new quarterback, and new stuff, and then you come calling these bulls. Remember, we had a 2-touchdown lead in the 4th quarter of that game, and sometimes guys that are brilliant play callers, or what you want to call it, don't see the whole game, and sometimes in the Jacksonville game, it's the same, had a 17-point lead, and then late in the game they called some questionable stuff that really didn't speak to the situation that you were in. I'll give you an example. Kyle Shanahan is a brilliant offensive mind, but the Super Bowl, 2019 Super Bowl, and the 2016 Super Bowl, he left a lot to be desired. And he's a great play caller, great schemer, right? He's a guy that can run 15 plays and run about 30 different formations, or one play, or 20 different plays out of one formation, so you don't ever know what's happening. But when the game's on the line, when you got okay, let's just get a 1st down so we get the game. It's not the time trying to recreate the wheel here, right? And I think there was some stuff there with Kellen that said, but understand this about Kellen, and I know I'm running a rabbit here. You got to go back, and I remember I go back in football a long time, man. So I've never remember a guy got to be an offensive coordinator that didn't pay along the way. The dude was 2 years away from playing in the NFL, and he's an offensive coordinator. At no point was he an offensive assistant. At no point was he an audio visual guy, a quality control guy that keeps the cords, runs and gets stuff, guys that chronicles film. At no point, because usually after you do that for a year or two, then you okay, we'll make you tight ends coach, and you work the tight ends. Then you become maybe the wide receivers coach, and you do that for maybe a year. And then maybe you become the quarterbacks coach, and then you do that for maybe a year. Then you done mastered all 3 levels of the thing. Maybe running backs coach. Maybe then he's like, okay, maybe you're about ready to be an offensive coordinator now. But no, he's 2 years. He's playing in 2017, and then 2019 he's an offensive coordinator. So I'm just saying that I'm not saying he's not a great. He's not going to do great things um, uh, in Los Angeles with the Chargers, which I think he will. But that's cool. Cool. Put away the anointing oil, as Bill Parcells said about Tony Romo. Put away the anointing oil here. There's some things he still has to learn, and I still would go with Mike McCarthy, who was calling plays with when Joe Montana was still in the NFL. He was on that coaching staff, coaching Joe Montana. He knows a little something about offense. So, but I'm back to the Turpin thing. He never designed anything for Kevontae Turpin. So I'm anxious to see what Kevontae Turpin's going to do if he gets to play some at receiver and make some plays here. We're going to see what he can do here. So, and also what I'd like to see on defense, I want to see Mozzie, but I want to see Mozzie in a limited capacity because I don't want that dude hurt. But I want to see him throw some dudes out the club, man, and get to the quarterback. Throw some dudes out the club and slam that back down, or hold that guard up where the linebacker, whether it's Jabril or I don't think I really don't think that Van Der Esch is going to play, but maybe Clark or Jabril Cox might play, or DeMar Overshawn. That's another guy I want to see play. That dude's been a missile and he really can't hit nobody. I really want to see what that guy can do. So those are some guys that I really want to see. Oh yeah. Ed Scott Jr. I almost forgot to mention it. Ed Scott Jr., the sixth round pick we got out of Southern Miss, I think. He's made it where Kelvin Joseph, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, and Neashawn Wright, man, they're going to have to do something special in this preseason. They're going to have to shake something with this team because Ed Scott Jr., who's like a guy that is picked, but, that dude been making some plays. He's been hitting. He's, well, not really hitting, but he's been guessing right on plays. I think he may have even had a pick, or may have had a couple of nice pass breakups. So they're really excited about what they're seeing by Ed Scott Jr. Man, they're really high on him. So that's another guy I really want to see when he's lined up against he's lined up against real receivers in training camp, but against other teams, we'll see what. And then I want to see what the UDFAs are, because sometimes you can find gems in them UDFA. It's like bargain bin hunting. Go there, you can find good stuff. My wife done found great stuff at the bargain bin. Bring me, hey, look at these headphones I got for like $6, $3. Okay, look at this thing I got. Look at this, electronic piece I got. Okay. So sometimes you can find some great things in this UDFA. And so some of the guys I want to see out of there, I want to see Isaiah Land. He's a guy from he's a defensive end / rushing linebacker. It's like 6'3", 2 Florida A&M. Was a teammate of Marquise Bell, who's a undrafted free agent we got last year out of Florida A&M, right? So sometimes an undrafted free agent markets, sometimes you can find some guys like that. And then I'm looking for him. I'm looking for another guy that's made some splash plays in the preseason. A guy named Jalen Marino Cropper made a couple touchdowns in the preseason, in the training camp. I want to see what he's got. And there's some other guys, Hunter Lipke, fullback. Whatever that is. People don't do fullbacks now. They kind of just use tight ends for that. That's what Scott McEwen. It's McEwen, but it's McEwen 84. That's what he kind of does. They use him in those kind of things. But it would be kind of cool to have a real fullback. But can you really spare that roster spot, right? So you kind of got that one. And Hunter Lipke, I want to see what that guy does. And maybe, because that's going to determine what you're going to do with your running backs. Because, if you're going to keep all 4 running backs, then you won't keep that guy's up. Then you would maybe not even keep but 3 tight ends now if you keep Lipke. So Lipke's kind of like that linchpin because he's half back, half tight end, because he can be in the tight end room too. So I'd love to see him in the mode of like a Kyle Juszczyk that plays for the 49ers, catching passes out of the backfield and just balling guys. And then on running plays, on short yardage, just blowing dudes up. and stuff like that. And then the short yardage stuff, handing him the ball and just seeing what he can, what he can do, whatever. So I'd like to see what he's able to do. And then John Stevens Jr. Out of Louisiana, who's I think was originally a wide receiver that made him a tight end. He's like 6'5" and 226. And he made some plays in preseason and in a training camp. Also, I really want to see what he's doing. Man, there's a couple of guys. Tevin Wheat from Mississippi State, a pass rushing linebacker. We want to see what he can do, edge rusher. Some guys in the undrafted free agent that I'd love to see what they're capable of doing. Cropper, like I said, Jalen Marino, Cropper, John Stevens, Isaiah Land. Oh yeah, and Princeton Fant. Yeah, that's another one that I'm real kind of, because I remember seeing him in Tennessee, cousin of Noah Fant that plays for the Seahawks. He can catch, and he's got got a little speed to him. Not real big, not real physical. So he's going to be like a run catching, a pass catching tight end. But how many tight ends really going? I see a squad in his future too. So we'll see what happens with the undrafted free agents on that. Now, here's what I want to see here. Somebody's calling me and they trying to call me on now. I'm on with my peeps, right? So here's the thing. Here's the players that I really I think really need a good preseason to solidify themselves. And like I was telling you about the emergence of Jalen Brooks, that's kind of signal, the warning Will Rogers for Semi Foco. We got him a couple of years back from Stanford, about 2 years back from Stanford. He's got all kinds of measurables like 6'3", 215, 220, speed. Like he runs 4.3, but somehow can't kind of put it together. He had a bad drop where he threw it up in the air and it got picked early in training camp. Dak went to him and like, dog, what are we doing here? And so he's a guy, he's made a play or two, and he's kind of like not made a play or two. So Jalen Brooks is kind of pushed ahead of him. He kind of may even be ahead of Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert has made some nice plays, but Jalen Brooks is walking the thing. But each year there's always been a guy in our training camp that has been a guy. Remember TJ Vasher a couple of years back? Remember Dennis Houston? There's been some guys. Jalen Guyton. Seems like I remember that name a few, and they never really came to nothing. So it's always a guy. So maybe Brooks is, but maybe he's a guy. We don't know. But we're gonna see today though. But yeah, them are some of the guys that's going to. I'm wanting to. They're going to have good, strong preseasons. Semi Fehoko on D is Kelvin Joseph. Look, man, Kelvin Joseph got all of the physical tools. And sometimes, and I really don't want to put this on the young brother. I really don't. But sometimes guys don't love the game. They don't love all the things that go with the game, the preparation, the time, the dedication, the taking care of your diet, and all that stuff, watching film, all the things that go about. Like, for instance, you take a guy like Micah. Micah loves the game. Here's a guy that went with Andrew Whitworth and studied him in the offseason, went with him, met with him, and said, hey, what can I do to make myself? And he was talking things he's going to be doing with his hands this year, and just adding to his game. He's gone to the camps with Von Miller, where he can, get with other guys that's doing that kind of stuff, and so he can be better. Guys that love their job look for ways to be better at their job. And I don't know if Kelvin Joseph loves football or not. I know he's big bossman fats and he raps, stuff like that. I don't know, man. I don't know. And he's got some other things going on and whatnot. But the thing he does have going for him, though, he's pretty doggone good on special teams. So, and I know the other kid, is it Bradford? What is that kid's name? He's a cornerback, but he's really the special teams ace. He's not, I don't know if he's as good as that guy. His name will come to me in a minute, but that's his only thing is just saving him. Really, he's playing good in him playing good, making a play. But he had also a couple of stupid penalties on that special teams too. It's a lot of holding calls and all kind of stuff. This is blocking in the back when guys nowhere near the play. What are you doing, dude? And so, and then Nashawn Wright, he's gonna need a pretty good training camp. I think, and he's made some plays, some nice plays in camp. He's given up some plays, but he's been competitive. I think he's even got a pick or two in training camp. So, so if he has a pretty good training camp, I will give him the nod over Kelvin Joseph. But the only thing that's saving Kelvin Joseph is he is a second-round pick. Second-round picks, man, they'll give you, I don't know how many chances, how many, get out of jail cards, whatever. And I think they're still kicking themselves for picking him and not getting Asante Samuel Jr. He played for the Chargers, who was available. And you picked Joseph. That one sticks sideways in your craw right there. It just will. All right. But here's the thing that's really gonna kick all the thing. But I'm really feeling good about our season this year. I think our offense is gonna be great. And I think our defense has a chance to be the best defense in the NFL. I've got that. I'm not saying that because I'm a fan. I just really feel that way. I'm really excited. But there's one piece of urine in my cornflakes. Well, actually two. Two things that scare me. The offensive line woes. Look, man. I see where Jerry's coming from, and I'm one that don't see eye to eye with Jerry on hardly anything, except I'm looking for some glory hole too. Sorry, I had to say that. I'm sorry, but there are a few things I line up with Jerry Jones about. Right, very few things. Right, so but I will kind of side with him to a certain degree when it comes to Zach Martin in terms of like, dude, back in 2018, we made you the highest paid. I want to say the highest paid offensive lineman at 6 years, 84 million, and 40 million of it was totally guaranteed. And they put 20 million of that in his pocket at the time of signing. And in the 4 years since then, you done seen my man from the Indianapolis Colts, Quentin. God, what's his last name? Quentin. You've seen him go past him in salary, and Chris Lindstrom from the Falcons go past him. You've seen there's a guy that plays for the Browns. I can't think his name because the Browns got a couple of dudes in the top 10 and highest paid offensive lineman, a guard, and of course I think a guard and a tackle. I think there's two guys in there, and there's a guard in there that's in the top 10. I can't think of his name, but he's all the way down to like number 7. All right. So I kind of see what Jerry's saying from the task standpoint. We kind of pay. I mean, we believed in you then, and we really, and I know they say, they play the contract, but that don't really apply when it comes to players. Because as soon as you're not good no more, they want to rip that contract up and send you packing, right? But I kind of see his point on that, right? But at the same time, this is Zach Martin. Zach Martin has been a warrior for the Cowboys. All right. He has been a warrior for the Cowboys. I remember 2020 when Tyron Smith got injured because, of course, he did, because he gets hurt every year, and we hold our fingers together. He don't get hurt this year. We need him. We need no more injuries on the offensive line. Here was Zach Martin playing left tackle, man. Bless his heart. He just do whatever's needed, man. Don't give you no trouble, and takes on the best guys, blast them guys, and guys never get close to Dak from his. I think he's given up like less sacks than he's played years, less sacks than he's had holding calls. He's a first ballot Hall of Fame. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what nobody says. And the Cowboy haters come here talking some bull crap. Zach Martin's a first ballot Hall of Fame. He's every bit as good as Joe Thomas as a guard is for him being a tackle. Zach Martin is that dude, right? And he's never given you any problems. He's never been Lyle Collins, right? And he's like, dude, can you kind of hook me up a little bit? And you kind of like didn't. That's a guy I might pick up the phone like, okay, let's work it out, man. Let's work it out, Zach. You've been one of our guys. You've been our guy. So they gotta get that worked out. Right now, that dude's up to like $850,000 in fines for missing. It's not looking good, man. I don't know. I really wished I could be the optimistic on that. I mean, I see what Mr. Rome was talking about. He want to be Mr. Optimus Prime. I would love to be Optimus Prime and say I see that going well. But dude, when you didn't went that far and you didn't gave up $850,000, I can't see how you wouldn't take less than shoot. I need a $5 million increase in my salary from 14 to 19. I need that. Other than that, I don't know. You know, I already gave up nearly $1 million in salary. I don't see how this ends well. And then you want to run Joshua Ball out there left guard, right guard, Matt Forniak, um, who plays guard and center, or Matt Walesko, who plays guard and tackle. They picked up Awesome Richards from North Carolina. I don't know if he's ready yet, but that got to get fixed, man, because that could upset the whole apple cart, and the apples will be rolling back and forth across the pavement. That right there will upset the entire apple cart. I don't care how locked in Dak is. I don't care how locked in Cooks and CDR and whatnot, and what to run him. If you don't get that guy signed, you putting these ne'er-do-wells at left and right guard, man, this whole thing could fall apart, man. And I'm just hoping, praying that don't happen like that, man. So you guys got to make something happen here, All right, or bust a call to somebody in free agent that's available right now, that we think can stem the tide till we can get something done, right? But this is a good note though. I've been hearing that Zach Martin's been working out with Duke Manyweather, so that's a good sign. That's a good sign because that means he's staying in shape. Duke Manyweather is the best. If you don't know who Duke Manyweather, he's the offensive line guru to the stars or whatever. And he's on speed dial with the Dallas Cowboys. All of our offensive linemen, from Terry Steele to Tyron Smith to Tyler Smith, all of them, Tyler Beyond, they've all worked with Duke Manyweather. All right, so he's working with him, getting some workouts and stuff in. So he's still, but that's got to get done, people. That's got to get done. And then the kicking situation. They had Tristan Vizcaino. He missed. They had a thing when they missed 6 out of 7 kicks. I think he was 0 for 4. And the guy, Brandon, I was gonna say Brandon Ayuk, Brandon Aubrey. They played at Birmingham, world champs 2 times. I'm sorry. He was the kicker for them, but he was 1 for 3. So there was 0 for 7 that day, and they promptly kicked Vizcaino off the team. So I really want to see what Aubrey does today in his job to have. But man, I really don't feel good about having that guy. He's a soccer kicker, so I mean, and he missed some kicks in the 40s. So we're gonna see what happens with him. But man, your kicking game ain't good. That'll also upset your apple cart, man. You get down in the red zone, and he's like, you be trying 4th down plays because you're not confident in your kicker, right? So I don't know, man. Let's see what happens with that. I'm anxious to see what happens with him and that. But offensive line, because Chuma Adoka got hurt too, and I'm just hoping and praying that and Tyler Biada's rolled his ankle. And I'm just hoping that Tyron Smith just pack him in glass, man, so he don't get hurt, because this thing can end bad for offensive line. Don't be what it's supposed to be. Now we round in third, heading for the plate. Now, I saw something today. I mean, Thursday, really. I think I spelled fakeness wrong, but whatever. What is it with these 3? And I done found it now. I done come to now, I don't really watch the 3 and 4 letter networks as much as I used to, because, when I was coming on, I would tell you I got a routine that way I keep my sports content up to par, where when I come talk to you, I know what I'm talking about. I done watch Skip and Shannon, which that is no more. That's getting ready to be Skip and Rachel Nichols and Richard Sherman and some other guys, but that's another story. Or I watch Colin Cowherd, and I watch The Odd Couple, with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker. I watch a lot of different things, And sometimes I watch. Speak for Yourself is much better with Marcellus Wiley, but and Jason Whitlock. But whatever. But sometimes they have such a. They takes me so whatever. I don't really roll with them no more. So I roll with like the content creators that do the new media. So I'll roll a little bit with Mike Fisher in the mornings, but even though he's kind of got a cowboy bias because he has to side with Jerry and side with stuff with Jerry because you want to continue to have your access. You don't want your access cut off, So, there's a certain politics that goes with that. Oh, why this thing keep peeking out? Kind of keep that covered. So there's a certain politics, certain things you got to say about, about Jerry and stuff like, Jerry never hired no puppet coaches. Come on, Mike. So, but other than that, man, he be spot on about a lot of his things. Like, people talking about the picks in the training camp. He said, dude, it's practice. You're gonna make some mistakes. You're trying things. It happens, right? But I've stopped watching 4-letter networks a lot, so I don't hardly watch them hardly at all now because they be putting out a lot of rhetoric and stuff. So we know about Shady McCoy saying Dak is ASS, and that's his take, and we know he's the cowboy heel right now. In wrestling, you got to have a heel. You got a good guy, you got a heel. You got a Hulk Hogan, and you got a Roddy Piper. Yeah, I know wrestling too. You got Paul, Mr. Wonderful Orndorff, and you got King Bundy. You got the British Bulldogs, and you got the Hart Foundation, Bret the Night Hart, and Bret the Hitman Hart, and Jim Neidhart. You got the Hart Foundation. You got all that. Yeah, I know. So you got your good guys and you got your heels, right? So they're playing. You got to have a cowboy supporter. That's why on Speed you had Dave Hillman, and then you got Shady McCoy. So you got Shannon Sharpe is a cowboy hater. You got Skip Bayless a cowboy lover. But according to Mike Fisher, he really not a cowboy lover, but he plays that part. And you got Stephen A. Smith, who's a cowboy hater, but he really not. But that's the stick he plays because that's the script that they're reading, right? So I'm kind of turned off on the 4-letter network. So there was a situation that happened, I think, Wednesday when they had practice. And so Cowboys are in Oxnard, California. And of course, now these networks and Fox, they're in Los Angeles. So Shady McCoy and Emmanuel Acho come to Cowboys unannounced. And, it takes some to go down there and be at the thing. They're down there from 11:08 to like 11:45. So they're there like 38 minutes. Didn't watch no practice. Basically, they probably seen some stretching and whatever. I mean, I got that from Mike Fisher, and I seen that also from Mr. Rome, and also I watched the footage when they came. Right. This is where the new media loses me now because it's all an act. And then we talk about new media, which I'm a part of media. I'm a small part. But I try to be authentic. I try to tell you what I think, what I feel, what I've seen. And I ain't up nothing. If I don't know, I don't know. I don't know. How many times I tell you, dang, I can't remember the name. All right. And I try to, and that's just the thing with the new media. We try to be, when I'm talking about your content creators, your YouTubers, your podcasters, and what stuff like that, which I'm kind of in that group. I'm a small, very small. I'm just sliding inside the here. We try to be authentic. These two clowns, and I call them clowns, and I kind of like Acho. I ain't got nothing for Shady McCoy. You call my quarterback AWS, and you really ain't seen no footage. You don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, they fixed their mouth to go down there and didn't even see anything, didn't watch no practice and all this kind of. You might want to interview Dak Prescott since you done called him AWS. You might want to talk to him. You might talk to Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is a good quote. He's a good soundbite. He's a walking soundbite. Watch that Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark with him. I promise you, you get chills talking to him, what he talks about. This dude in the third year, this dude understands this already. But they ain't do none of that. They went there and rubbed a couple of elbows, shook a couple of hands, and I'm sure maybe he did talk to Micah because Shady and Micah from the same town, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I think that's the town. They're from the same. They say maybe he talked to him. but didn't interview him or nothing. And then had the nerve to get back on Colin Cowherd's show. And when he asked him, "Oh yeah, I seen you went to his Colin. Seen you went to the training camp. Yeah, man, good cop, but the defense, man, they're hitting, popping, man, they're looking good and stuff, man. Tony Pollard's looking good and all that kind of stuff, man. They just look good. Except for one thing. Tony Pollard wasn't there. Tony Pollard was with his girlfriend, wife, I don't know when their second child, a little baby girl. So he was excused from practice that particular day that they was there. So you didn't see Tony Pollard that day. Now, I know Colin Cowherd's one of them dudes. Now, I don't agree with his takes a lot, but I know him and Skip Bayless kind of run the FS1. You know, he's got the Volume Communications Network, of which Vosh and Will Skywalker Skill are part of. You know, he's Colin Cowherd is big, right? You ain't finna come on his show and be unprepared and say something like that and think Colin ain't gonna, you know. So yeah. So that makes the media, that makes you look unprepared, Shady. Who's ASS now? Makes you look unprepared, Shady. Looks like you just a football player that just gave you a job, Shady. That's what it looks like to me. So just wanted to share that little tidbit with you as we go out. And I thank you guys for striving with me as I was going through the technical difficulties with my streaming and all that sort of stuff. And I hope this went across well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. Get ready to start here in just a minute. I'm going to get in here and get me some popcorn and maybe some wings. Sit down and watch and see what we're. And I'll be back on here in a few hours and tell you what I thought. All right. But continue to like, comment, subscribe. If you want to shoot your boy some change, I got a donate QR score up there. Probably should put that up there that you see that. If you want to send your boy a little something, you know, I'm open with stuff, right? And that being said, I'm gonna hit this little button right here. I'm gonna be like my man Will Steele. I'm gonna hit this button, and we're gonna be out of here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. I guarantee you will not ever be disappointed. God bless. See you guys in a minute.
Two times on the beat, bitch.